Hey, what's up, Warriors? Welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited to have our special guest today, Cassie. Thank you so much, Cassie, for joining us today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So, if you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself, Cassie, how you got started with print on demand and your story selling on the Etsy marketplace.
Absolutely. So I got started on Etsy in about May of 2020. Me and my husband both lost our jobs, like a lot of people did. So I turned to YouTube looking for ways to make money online. And I saw a lot of things like drop shipping on Shopify and a lot of different ways to make money. But when I saw a video about how to do print on demand on Etsy, I started literally the exact same day. I was like, this seems perfect. I can do that. I don't have to order anything. It just seemed like a no-brainer, simple, easy to get into business. I just remember going on a walk with my husband that night. I'm like, I think I'm going to start an Etsy store selling things that I don't make online. He's like, okay, honey, whatever you want. And little did we know that 2 years later now, I have built my Etsy store to over 550,000 sales. And now I've quit my job and my husband has quit his job and we get to do this full time.
So, 550,000, you said?
Yeah, yep. I think I'm at like 570 or something now. Yeah.
That is crazy. So, it shows you the potential with print on demand. So, I'm curious, Cassie, what are the ingredients to being able to hit that benchmark to be able to sell that much on Etsy?
Absolutely. So, obviously there's a lot of little things that go into it. So you've got to get good at just learning new things and moving on and not getting bogged down by the little stuff. I'd say the biggest things I would probably attribute to my success is scaling my business. So, as soon as you find something like a design style that works or a niche that you're getting a lot of sales in, making a bunch more just like it because you already know that that works for you. So I'll implement that in a couple of areas. Like, let's say I find a design style that works really well for me, like a rainbow with text underneath. And that works really well in one niche. And so I'll duplicate that design into 50 to 100 other niches. And the design looks identical other than what it says. And then I can really quickly and easily just keep uploading new designs that I find to all those same niches that I've already had success with. And that just makes it so much simpler. I'm not looking for the next big thing all the time. I'm just constantly finding one new design, duplicating it and putting it all the niches that I found success with. And then that's kind of what's helped me scale so fast.
Very cool. I liked what you said at the beginning. I think it's so true. It's very easy to get so fixated on making sure your shop looks perfect before opening or having X amount of listings before opening. But it's so important just to get started and to just experiment and see what comes from it. And I think you're a perfect example of that with the success that you've had. Another thing I liked is when you find a winning design, is to take that design and put it on if it's different products or into different niches. So with you saying that, I assume you have a general store. You don't have a niche specific store. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's something that I preach a lot on my channel is doing a general store. I think Etsy is the perfect place to do that since 99% of the time when someone's shopping on Etsy, they're just going to the search results and typing in exactly what they're looking for, like a first grade teacher shirt. And then they look through all the first and second page results of first grade teacher shirts and they buy one. They never even click on your actual store. So I feel like in a market like that, where it's kind of Google based, search engine based, you really want to be in as many places as you can, since not that many shoppers are only shopping with you. And so I think Etsy is the perfect place to get in tons of different niches and find out what works best for you. And then if you wanted to take whatever your best selling niche was and your best selling designs over to a Shopify store, then you'd have a much easier time doing that because you already have the proven designs, the proven mockups, the proven SEO, and you just can spend time sending Facebook ads to your Shopify store, but you don't have to figure it all out at the same time.
Very cool. I know when we started our shop, we started out as a specific niche store. So we had positive, it's like a positive thinking store, a positive phrases store, but
Yeah.
it limited us so much when it came to holidays. We were very limited on what we could design for. So I completely agree. It's so important to have a general store because you really have the opportunities are endless. You can design in any niche for any specific holiday. You can really do whatever you want. So awesome advice there.
Well, and it helps you to build a much more consistent income. No niche sells all year round. So if you
true.
make sure you're in every holiday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Mardi Gras, all of them all the way around, then you can have some evergreen niches too. But I think that's what's really helped us be able to comfortably quit our job, because we have had such a consistent income because we're in all of those different niches. I feel like it's harder to get to that point with just one.
For sure. So you said you quit your job. When did you know it was the right time to take the leap and to go full force on this?
Absolutely. So, I was off work for 4 months when I first started it because I had lost my job. And then I went back to work in August of 2020. Yeah, 2020. August of 2020, I went back to work. I got a new job. And then that same month, I made my first $4,000 in profit in a month on Etsy. And I was like, oh, well, this is kind of funny timing, because I didn't make that much my first, 4 months that I was working on it. It takes some time to get it going. And then I just kept making really good money all of Q4. And I'm like, why am I working this crappy job? Like I would rather just be doing this full time, but that's scary, and I think a lot of people go through that. You're like, well, what if the other shoe drops? What if it doesn't always work? What if my Etsy account gets closed? And so I worked there all the way until June of 2021. I kept working there. And I was glad that I did, because I did a lot of preparation work for Q4, did a ton of designs for Halloween and Christmas. I probably had 400 designs for each of those holidays. And so that was really able to make me a lot of money in 2020. I ended up selling between May and December of 2020 about 134K in sales my first 8 months. So that was really cool. But then come January, I had not done any prep work for like Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day or any of those ones that I said. And so in January, I only made $1,000 in profit all of a sudden, when I had been doing a lot more than that. And so then it was the catch-up game in the beginning of 2021, trying to figure out what's selling, since it was my first January, February, March, and April. I'd never sold in those before. And so getting built up in those, I finally got my income back up, and we were getting married in September of 2021. So we'd kind of talked, me and my husband, about me quitting maybe in August to have like a month to finish planning the wedding and getting all that set up. But then it was just going so well that June came, and we were like, well, to get ready for Q4, I think now is the time, so I can spend the whole summer designing for Halloween and Christmas and getting ready for the wedding. And so we just pulled the plug and quit a little bit early. But honestly, I probably could have quit a little bit earlier than that, based off what I was making, but it just scary. So I waited a little bit.
Wow. Cool. So that's interesting. I think a lesson learned here too for you, as well as for anyone that's selling on Etsy, is the importance of being consistent with print on demand and on the Etsy marketplace. I feel like you see a lot of videos out there. They talk about make passive money with Etsy, and people get this idea that it's 100% passive. You're not doing any work at all, and you can kind of do the work and then just leave it and it'll make you money. But it's really not the case. You have to always be actively engaged on Etsy, adding new listings, doing everything you can to show Etsy that you're there to make money.
I think that's true and not true. I think in the beginning, it's kind of the never-ending hustle. I'd say for the first 6 months to a year, as you get it figured out, make designs for every niche, it is kind of that constant hustle. But then when it came to, like, say, my wedding month in September, it was really, really cool though, because I probably only worked 20 minutes a day on the customer service that entire month, and that was it. And I think I sold $25,000, but that was because I had prepared in advance. And so I think what's really cool about Etsy is you could probably work, 6 months out of the year and really prepare for those holidays. And then the other 6 months out of the year, you could just do the customer service and maintain it. Obviously not 6 months and 6 months, but like work for a month listing and then coast for a month. If you really prepare like 8 to 12 weeks in advance for what's coming and always be ahead of what's coming and then do the trends as they come up, I think it does afford you some passive time as well,
Okay, cool. Awesome insight. I love it. So you're busy with Etsy. You're busy with your channel that you just started.
Yeah.
We didn't do a plug yet. If you want to do a plug for your channel, Cassie, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I actually just started my own YouTube channel 4 months ago. It's just my name, Cassie Johnson. I do a lot of deep dives. I try to do a lot of step-by-step tutorials. If you want to learn Pinterest, I go step by step, show you screen by screen exactly how to do those types of things. So I'm really trying to make the videos I wish I had when I started 2 years ago. So definitely come check it out if you're interested.
Awesome. Yeah. Make sure you guys go and subscribe. And then you're also selling on Merch by Amazon and you have your own mock-up shop. So you're extremely busy. How are you finding time in the day to do all of this without getting burnt out? What's kind of like your day in the life of Cassie when it comes to all of your different businesses that you have?
Absolutely. So, it probably sounds like a lot to someone who's just getting started, but I think when you start something like Etsy, it might seem like this big bad thing and it takes up this much of your mental energy in the beginning. But over time, as you learn it, you get better, you streamline your processes, you get more efficient. It slowly and slowly takes up less of your brain power to do the exact same amount of work. And then when you get to that point, that's when I started my Amazon, and then I started building that. And then that took less and less space. And now that feels easier. And then I opened my mock-up store, and that took up a lot of space. And now I just do that a couple times a year. I do the photo shoots for that. And then now I started my YouTube channel. So right now that is taking up this much space, currently trying to get 2 videos out a week and do coaching and stuff. But I think Etsy is a really cool building block into your first baby steps of entrepreneurship, because the barrier to entry is just so low and so easy. Anyone can get started if you just follow Brennan's advice and my advice and just follow the steps that you get from print-on-demand coaches. You really can kind of make it happen if you just do the little steps that you need to do and keep moving forward and stay consistent, like you said. And so I think over time, a lot of people are going to really end up moving that way and starting different types of businesses and having multiple income streams. But it just gets easier over time, to manage it all.
So cool. So I feel like your life has drastically changed within the last 2 or 3 years. And you have a lot more free time. Your schedule is 100% what your schedule wants to be. If you want to just share briefly, I know you've talked base on it, but share briefly, how has your life changed because you decided to take action and to start these little ventures that you're doing now?
Absolutely. So, going back in time 3 years ago, I was at like a corporate office sales job that I hated, toxic people. I was driving an hour to and from work. And luckily I was listening to like positive podcasts and YouTube videos the whole time. But other than that, there wasn't a lot positive about it. And I think when you're working, 45, 50 hours a week, every week, you kind of accidentally go on autopilot. You don't take care of yourself. You don't take care of your friends and family. You don't take care of your house as much as you want, because when you're not at work, you're just burnt out. And so, ended up losing my job was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it gave me just some time and space to really figure out what I wanted to do and, get started on this business. And so now, 2 years into it, the first year I really hustled. Like I said, I was working full time again in August, and I probably did Etsy every possible second I could. I had like 3 monitors set up here for my work. And then I had Etsy right here where you guys are. And just whenever I was in between something, I was also doing Etsy, and then going back to work and doing Etsy, and before work and after work and on my lunch break, because I was just obsessed. I really like doing print on demand. And if you don't love it, then maybe it's not for you. I feel like you kind of have to like it to some point, and find enjoyment in it, get obsessed with it. And so, I really worked a lot of hours for a long, long time. But now that, again, I put that work in, this year's been so crazy because, my husband quit his job in January. And so now he's just home full time with me. Wow. And so, I've really started doing this YouTube channel, and now I've probably only listed on Etsy 10 times this year so far in wow. 2022. And I've still made about the exact same amount of money I made this time last year on Etsy, with not doing too much more work, just kind of basic customer service. But again, because I prepared, I made sure I had shirts in all the different holidays, all the different seasons, my evergreen niches that sell well. I put the work in the beginning. So now we go play pickleball all the time. We bought a camper. We've already been camping like 4 times this year, and it's just the end of June. We hang out with friends and family every day. It's like a game of who's going to invite us over for dinner. We like don't even plan dinners anymore because we're like constantly hanging out with friends and family. I get to be home with my 13-year-old all summer. So it's really changed so much for me in my life.
Man, that is so cool. Thank you so much for sharing. So for those of you that are listening, print on demand is such a great opportunity for you if you want to change the course of your life. And if you want to spend more time with your kids, like Cassie's able to do now, or with your spouse, or go camping, or do whatever it is that you want to do, print on demand, especially selling on the Etsy marketplace, frees up so much time and gives you so much opportunity to do exactly what you want when you want. So do not miss out on this wonderful opportunity. And you can learn everything you need to learn from Cassie on her channel. I also teach things here on my channel, and there's so many different resources as long as you're willing to put in the work like Cassie has done and do what you need to do to see success. So Cassie, I have just a few more questions I want to ask you before I let you go. I feel like I could interview you for hours hearing your story and picking your brain apart, figuring out what you've done that has brought you so much success. But there's a lot of questions I get over and over on my channel and in my Facebook group that are very similar. And you talked a little bit about being busy and not burning out because you are obsessed with what you're doing. You're obsessed with selling print on demand. I'm just curious, how do you get to that point where you're obsessed with it and you're not burning out? What do you do to make sure you don't burn out? Because you're extremely busy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good question. And I think, any entrepreneur of any kind is going to go through bouts of feeling burnt out. And that's super normal. But I think a couple things, if you really live in the future, if you're not like worried, okay, I think if you sit around all day and check how many favorites you have and wonder why they're not buying, and then you look at how many sales you have compared to someone else and wonder why you're not getting as many, I think you can really compare yourself to death and over worry about the little things. So I'd say one of the biggest things I did for myself is turned off my favorites. I haven't looked at how many favorites I got on anything in almost 2 years now, probably.
Wow.
Because you just want to kind of save your mental energy for the things that are actually important. And I'm going to tell you what the actually important things are right now.
Okay.
And that is listing new items on Etsy. And that's it. I would stop worrying about literally any other piece of it. Don't worry about returns. Don't worry about issues. Don't worry about customer service. When you get those things and they come up, take care of it right away and move on and never think about it again. I feel like people get really burnt out when they have an angry customer and they let it ruin their whole day. And that can really bog you down. So if you try to really only focus on the big thing, which is getting new things for sale on Etsy when you can, and have that be your only thing you worry about, everything else you just take care of really quick and move on, that will help so much.
Awesome advice. Okay, if you guys want to change the course of your life, go over to Cassie's channel, subscribe to her channel, and follow what she teaches, because she teaches you everything that you need to know to get your shop up and running and to start making money on the Etsy marketplace. And don't miss out on this opportunity. She's a living example of what this can do for you, for your family, and for your life. The link to her channel will be in the description down below, so make sure you go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching. And Cassie, thank you so much for being here and sharing the wisdom that you've learned during these past few years of getting started with print on demand.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a great conversation.